You're listening to What the Gut, a functional medicine and holistic health podcast for busy women who are ready to take charge of their health without the overwhelm. I'm Allison, your host, a double board certified family nurse practitioner specializing in functional medicine, here to help you decode the gut hormone connection and finally get the answers that you've been searching for. In this space, we're cutting through the confusion and diving deep into holistic wellness, because feeling your best is not just about another diet or quick fix. It's about understanding your body, healing from the inside out, and making sustainable changes that fit into your real, busy life. From gut health to energy struggles, hormonal imbalances to sustainable weight loss, I'm bringing you practical strategies, expert insight, and real talk that will help you thrive, not just survive. So if you're ready to finally feel good in your body again, hit that subscribe button and let's do this together. Quick reminder, this podcast is for educational and empowering purposes only, and it is not intended as medical advice. Be sure to consult with your personal healthcare provider for personal recommendations. Welcome to What the Gut, where we take control of our health one episode at a time. Welcome to the podcast, Lisa. I'm really excited to have you here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and you're a certified personal trainer, a nutritionist, and a faster way to fat loss coach. I know you help women balance their hormones naturally through sustainable nutrition habits and easy to follow workouts. I absolutely love how your approach to health and fitness is all about feeling strong, feeling your best, and really focuses on longevity too. I would love to ask you first what got you into what you do now.
Yeah, so I've actually been in the health and fitness field for 17 years now. I've always been interested in health and fitness since I was young. I used to do like Joni Gregan's records with my mom way back in the day. And I just always loved moving my body. Now, some people think you must have been an athlete or you loved Fayed, and those are two false things. I was actually never an athlete. I was a cheerleader, I will say that, but it's not like what it is now. Cheering wasn't stunts and tricks and when I was in it. And I also actually despised Fayed growing up. Even though I was very active and I loved movement, I always felt like, I actually still feel like, Fayed should be more about teaching kids how to move their body and how to do it correctly, as opposed to playing dodgeball and having boys like whip balls at girls' heads. That is not anyone's idea of fun, except I think the Fayed teacher's idea of fun.
Yeah, the boys may have enjoyed it too, but
That's No one likes that game, so please stop playing that game. After high school, I did go to college for a business degree, worked in the business world for a few years and just decided cubicle life was not for me. And so I did go back to school to get my certifications in personal training. And so that's when I started in personal training then. And over the course of 17 years, I've just gotten multiple different certifications and specialties geared more in hormones and nutrition now. Growing in the gym field, I realized that it's not just about exercise because you cannot outrun your fork. Maybe when you're younger, you can. But as you get older, you do need to focus more on nutrition and how nutrition works for you, because it's not a one size fits all tool.
yeah. And I love that. And I know previously when we were talking, you mentioned that you have shifted your approach to working with women over 45. So I'm curious, like, what are some of the key differences in hormone health and fitness between younger women and those in perimenopause or menopause?
Yes. So I'm going to say generally, because there is a range of females that are in their 20s and 30s that do have hormone issues. But generally speaking, in your 20s and 30s, it is a lot easier for that population of females to lose weight because it is a little bit more calories in, calories out. It doesn't really matter the quality of food yet, or what macros you're eating, or even your exercise. Because if you're 25, you can do 6 days a week of boot camp and eat some protein, eat carbs, eat fats, maybe overdo it on the weekends. And that's not going to make or break anything. You're still going to see progress. But as we get older, as we get into perimenopause, and as we get into things like lots of work stress, family stress, maybe you have kids you're taking care of and you're having to take care of your elderly parents or, elderly other people, whether it's an aunt and uncle, siblings, things of that nature, stress plays a big role. And then when you get into perimenopause, your hormones start going like roller coaster. Think of like when you were a teenager. Back then, what happened? You got mood swings, right? Maybe you like got ornery and you didn't know why. That is all happening again in perimenopause, but like at a heightened state because now we're like dealing with extra stress in our life. Our cortisol levels are high. Our estrogen is dropping. We're trying to eat less food because that's what we used to do when we were 25. And we're trying to work out more because that's what we used to do when we were 25 and nothing is working. And that's why as you get older, actually eating more and exercising less is what actually helps you to lose weight. And it's the reverse when you're younger.
Yeah. Yeah. But we just have this mindset of it worked before. So why wouldn't it work again? And
Yes.
the concept makes sense. But whenever you think about, okay, we are a different person in all ways, hopefully we're a different person than we were in our 20s, but especially like with our hormones and everything. And I'm curious, what is your thought on like the importance of having balanced hormones for just your overall health and really like how hormone balance impacts things like your energy levels and weight management?
So when your hormones are not in balance, that's when you're going to have those perimenopausal symptoms of hot flashes, night sweats, not being able to sleep well at night, gaining that belly fat, that unexplained belly fat that everyone seems to have an issue with. And when you learn to balance your hormones, whether you're doing it naturally or whether you choose to do it through like hormone replacement therapy or whatever works best for you, you do have to understand that stress management plays a big role. Your sleep, I'll say sleep hygiene plays a big role, and making sure you're eating enough food, especially carbohydrates at night to help you sleep. All of those things play a really big role in balancing your hormones. So when I talked about like when you're 25, you can get away with a lot more. You don't have quite that leeway anymore when you're 45. You do have to be more dialed in. You have to really focus on the little nitty gritty things that you don't think are going to matter because you're right. They didn't matter when you were 25 because your hormones were in balance. But now having hormones that are not in balance, those small things that those little changes that you can make, like eating 50 grams of carbs with your supper to help you sleep, taking a magnesium supplement to help you sleep, those small things actually make more of a difference than some of the bigger things might.
Yeah. So basically, just forget what you did in your 20s. It's good.
Yes. Do the exact opposite.
Yeah. No, I know exercise like plays a big role too in how we balance our hormones. Can you share what are some of your easy go-to workouts that are really effective, but also are great for women to follow who are struggling with hormone imbalance?
Yeah. The number one exercise you should be doing to balance your hormones is strength training. Like hands down, everyone needs to be strength training. And so strength training means lifting weights. Now, if you're a beginner, you can start with body weight and do things like wall push-ups, planks. You can do like YITs. You can do hip bridges and squats. You can just do body weight things. If you're someone who has exercised in the past, you can do all of those things, but just add weight to them. Dumbbells or resistance bands, machines at a gym are all great as well. But doing functional movement patterns like squats, like deadlifts, like push-ups, those are all things that you do in everyday life. Think of what happens when you pick up a suitcase to go travel. And then what happens when you put that suitcase over the overhead bin? Like that's a shoulder press that you're doing. So all of these functional movements that you do in real life, you need to also mimic in the gym so that you can get stronger, not only to build muscle, but to keep you healthy as you age. Because as we age, the last thing we want to do is not be able to travel, for example, because we can't lift our suitcase over our head. And now you have to rely on someone else. You never know if someone else is going to be there to help you.
That's a great point too. I just think about the push-up as we age. If we're down on the floor playing with our grandchildren or whatever, and we need to get up, like we want to be able to get up
Exactly.
and get
So
down there, okay, and that kind of thing.
yes, actually getting down and up off the floor unassisted is the one thing that predicts long-term health. So if you cannot get down the floor and get up off the floor unassisted, you actually have a 7-year shorter lifespan than those people that can do that.
Yeah. So just start there, ladies.
Yeah. Get down on the floor and get back up without using a chair to help you.
Yeah. But I love how you mentioned if you haven't worked out before, just even start with body weight. Like, I had never done strength training before until I had my son, and after he was born, it was during COVID, and so a lot of my workouts, I was just, like, picking him up. Of course, after
Perfect.
not right after he ate because I learned that the hard way, but just, like, lifting him or sitting there holding him while I was squatting or something, and I remember actually that being so hard. That was so hard because I had never worked out before like that. Never done any strength training, but you can always find a can of soup or something.
Yes. You can always find something
Yeah,
to add a little bit of weight to you.
yeah. I love that. It's so easy. And a lot of people do struggle with like excess weight around the middle. So what are your tips or strategies to help reduce bloating or that fluff around the stomach area?
Oh, that's a good one. A lot of tips as a gut health expert, they're probably similar to what you would say to your clients, but making sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day. I do recommend 30 to 35 grams of fiber for women every day. I don't recommend starting out there. I will say that as a caveat. I think a lot of people hear these tips and they're like, oh, I'm just going to start eating 35 grams of fiber. And you maybe only eat 10 now. That will cause bloat and gassiness if you increase too much too fast. So you do want to work your way up there. But if you're over 40, I do recommend 30 to 35 grams of fiber per day. Also recommend making sure you're eating enough food to fuel your body and to fuel your workouts. So you should not be thinking, how low calorie can I eat? That's not what we're doing anymore. You need to make sure you're eating enough food because your hormones need food to help balance them out.
Yeah. I
So
like
just make sure you're getting enough whole food nutrition through carbs, fat, and protein and fiber.
Yeah. And it wasn't a trick question. Yes, I do know some of these things, but I will say, even people who do this stuff like all the time, there's like some of our go-tos, you know what I mean? But then it's also always nice to be reminded because I struggle with this too at times. I'm always asking people like, and they're like, don't you know this? I'm like, I might, yes, but it's also good to hear it in somebody else's words. Other people
Yes,
listening might be more receptive to hearing it from you than me, that kind of thing. So I always love to get everybody's opinion. But
I agree with you.
yeah, the fiber thing, that's a good one. Now, I know that you're a mom of a college student and you've got experience navigating all those changes that come with parenting older children. I'm curious how your perspective on health and self-care evolved as your child has grown and really what you learned about maintaining your own wellness while also supporting your family.
Oh, that's a big question. I will say this.
I need all the tips. I have three, but they're little.
Okay, I'll start from when they were little. This is a big question. So, first off, when my son was little, like just learning to eat little, I never made a separate meal for him. He always ate what we ate. Okay. Even when he was little and learning to eat, I gave him avocado. Obviously, like I didn't give him salmon if we were eating salmon because most like 1 year olds probably aren't going to eat that. Although my cousin's daughter is 8 months old and she eats salmon. So I
You
guess I
never
was wrong in that state. But I never made a special meal for my son. It was always just eat what we ate. And he generally did. Now, as he got older, like when they're like toddlers, they start to decide what they want to eat and don't want to eat. And so if he didn't want to eat something on his plate, it was always like you have to just try it. And then if you don't want it after that one bite, that's fine. You don't have to have it. So I never pushed food or made them clean their plate, but you always had to try everything on it. And then you could decide not to eat it or not. So that was the philosophy. And then as he got older, 7, 8, 9, where they can do some things on their own, it was if you don't like what I'm making for supper, you can make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or you can make yourself cereal, or whatever it is they can make at age 7, which for him wasn't much.
Yeah.
But he was always like, that's too much work for me. I'll just eat whatever you're like putting on my plate. That's fine. So he never truly was like a picky eater. There was foods that he didn't like or didn't want to eat, but he always would at least give them a try. And I think it's because we just always gave him what was on our plates and he just saw us eat it. So therefore he at least would try it. Now, as he has gotten older, that has led him to be a lot more adventurous as an eater. Like he loves to try new foods, new ethnic foods. He loves going to new restaurants, trying what they recommend. And as they get into high school, I will say, no matter how healthy you eat, they're going to want to eat Oreos and all the junk food. And I let him because I never wanted food to be something that like we had to fight about or that had to be an issue. So in our house, it was always, if you want that Oreo, if you think that Oreo will make you feel good, then go ahead and have that Oreo. That's fine. No shame in eating the Oreo. And I bought Oreos because that's what he wanted. And he loves Cheez-Its and Goldfish crackers. Who doesn't like those things like sugar? So they're fantastic. But as he was about 16, he started saying things like, after I eat these Oreos, my stomach kind of hurts. Or when I eat this lunch at school, I just don't feel very good for the rest of the afternoon. And I wouldn't say things like, oh, I told you. I would
Right.
say, oh, let's dive into that. So after you eat the Oreo, how do you feel? And he would maybe say, I just feel like laying on the couch, like I don't have any energy. So I was like, oh, okay, let's look at the back of the Oreo package. Maybe it's because the Oreo is full of junk food and sugar and all that stuff. And if you eat an apple and peanut butter, how do you feel then? And he'd be like, oh, I don't feel like that. So, oh, okay, that's because it's a whole food. So it's giving your body the fuel it needs in order to do those things you like to do. So you have to help them make that connection because they aren't aware of that yet.
Yeah, they've got to figure it out on their own.
They
Yeah.
and they also, yes, have to figure it out on their own. And there are some days when you're going to be like, why is nothing I'm doing working? Why is this not working? Like, why are they choosing all the junk food? But you have to let them. And then your time will come when they go to college and you think, I hope I taught them all the things. And then they'll call you and they'll say, man, it is really hard to find vegetables on campus. Is it okay if I just go to the store and get some vegetables? Hallelujah, it worked.
They heard what you said.
Yes, they heard it.
That's awesome.
So those are, I guess those aren't really my tips, but that's what I did. And
That's
it
enc
has seemed to work. So
It is encouraging though, because my oldest is 10 and I know that she's exchanging lunches at school because I see stuff come home in her lunchbox that wasn't purchased and bought by me. And then she complains, but she's connecting already, like how she feels
perfect.
she eats things because I'm like, what do you think this is? But that's awesome though that as soon as they're not under your wing anymore, that he still heard you and everything. So I'm curious, like with your self-care though, and just paying attention to yourself, giving yourself the attention that you need to exercise, to move your body, to eat healthier. Have you always been diligent about that? Or during different phases of motherhood, was that harder for you? What did that look like?
Yeah. So I've always been diligent in the exercise piece because for me, it's more mindset for me
Yeah.
than like more mental health for me than anything else. If I don't move my body every day, and that doesn't mean I do a strict form of exercise every day, but if I don't move my body every day, I will tell you, it's like I'm just like ornery and
Yeah.
I just have like low energy. I don't have a lot of patience for people. I have always had to protect that because I've known, I think from a young age, that exercise is a good like stress outlet for me. And it's a way for me to feel good about something that I did and I accomplished for just myself. It's not against anybody else. It's just what did I do to make myself feel good today? So exercise has always been big for me. I have always scheduled it since becoming a mom. I scheduled it in my calendar and I treated it like a doctor or dentist appointment and I just didn't cancel on myself.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Just put it on your
Yes. Yeah,
like out on your appointment with yourself.
exactly. And it doesn't have to be every day. It could be 2 days a week for you, or it could be 3 days a week for you, but don't cancel on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
Nutrition has been a little harder for me because I have always ate healthy, but always low calorie. Like being in the fitness world, it's always been like eat low calorie, you'll lose weight. And then I opened a gym and I had a gym for 5 years. And during that 5 years was probably when I was the unhealthiest, the most unhealthiest. Because like when you're a small business owner, you're everything. You're like plunging toilets and hiring people and like doing IT in the background and trying to like manage finances. And it's so much
yeah.
that the thing I put to the side was nutrition. And I just survived on protein shakes and protein bars for 5 years. And so I was like a bloated hot mess after that 5 years when I finally sold my gym. And yeah, so there are times in your life when your nutrition or your exercise might not be forefront for you. And just
Right.
know that that season will pass and to give yourself some grace with that. But I feel like one of the things does need to be on track, whether it's exercise or nutrition. And if the other one falls to the wayside for a season, it is what it is. But one of the things needs to be on track.
Yeah. But it's just a season, like you said. Like, I always try to remind myself or my clients of that. Like, this will pass. It's just a season, and give yourself grace because, and in your own small business, it's like having another child too.
So maybe worse.
Yeah. So I completely can relate to that stress. But Lisa, I know that you're on Instagram at Lisa Holtan, and I'll be sure to link that in the show notes. But is there anything else that you want to leave with our listeners today?
I just want to, leave you with this little nugget. I think a lot of people think they have to change a lot of things all at once in order to be healthy. And I just say focus on 1 to 3 things and do those things consistently. And over time, they're going to develop into habits. And pretty soon, you won't even realize that you're doing them anymore because they're just part of your life. Like how movement is just a part of my lifestyle, it just becomes a part of your life. But instead of thinking you have to change everything, it's too big, it's too much, it's too hard. And that's why it doesn't work for you. Just focus on 1 to 3 small things that you can change and be consistent in those things.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for that advice. I needed that reminder today too. So that is great. Thank you so much for being here today, Lisa.
Thanks for having me. It was fun chatting.
That's a wrap on today's episode of What the Gut. I'm so grateful that you're here, and I hope you're walking away with insights that bring you closer to feeling your absolute best. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would take a moment to leave a review. It helps more people like you find this podcast and get the answers that they need. And don't forget to hit that subscribe so that you never miss a new episode. Let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram. Find me at Allison Gets Well for daily gut health tips, behind the scenes, and more ways to support your wellness journey. I would also love to hear what topics you want covered in future episodes. If you have a burning question or a guest that you'd love to hear from, shoot me an email at hello@allisongetswell.com. If you're ready for real personalized support on your health journey, check out my one-on-one coaching program at allisongetswell.com. Let's get you feeling amazing from the inside out. Until next time, stay curious, nourish your body, and take care of your gut. Catch you soon. Hey friend, let's talk about something real. Bloating, stomach pain, and fatigue. You do not have to live like this. I know because I was there too. I was frustrated, exhausted, and trying everything, but still felt miserable. And that's exactly why I created my Get Well one-on-one gut health coaching program to help women like you finally get to the root cause of your symptoms, heal your gut, and feel like yourself again. No more guessing, no more Band-Aid fixes, just real, sustainable solutions tailored to your body. So if you're ready to ditch the bloating, boost your energy, and actually enjoy food without discomfort, let's do this together. Head to AllisonGetsWell.com or reach out to me on Instagram at AllisonGetsWell to learn more and apply today. Because you deserve to feel good in your body every single day.